Okay, so I saw the first Transformers movie and thought it was okay at best. Saw the second one and thought it was terrible. Haven't seen the rest of them. And when I heard they were making this, I figured they're desperate. They're really grasping at straws here, milking the franchise dry. And I didn't pay much attention to it. Just another Transformers movie, you know? But then it came out and a lot of people said some good things about it, which I didn't expect. And the more I looked into it, the more it actually seemed like a decent movie, with characters and a plot and all that, you know? So I thought it deserved a fair chance. And well, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is the best Transformers movie I've ever seen. It's actually enjoyable and not completely idiotic. And it's coherent and sort of fun too. Granted, the bar wasn't set very high, but I honestly liked this. It's not great, but it's perfectly fine and I definitely don't regret watching it. I mean, the story itself is pretty generic, and overall it's not really doing anything new. But here's the thing, it's a fun movie, with a fair amount of chuckle-worthy stuff in it. I mean, John Cena's in this, and almost every scene with him is great. He's not in it a lot, but his comedic timing and delivery is just fantastic. And Hailee Steinfeld is really good. I liked her in The Edge of 17 and she's just as good in this. Her character is a bit more bland, but she does a really good job with it. I don't know, she's just likable. Her backstory is a bit contrived, but she still makes it work. So what's the story here? Well, it's a bit of a Transformers prequel actually. It's about Bumblebee coming to Earth, of course with the Decepticons tailing him. And Hailee Steinfeld's character gets wrapped up in all of it. And of course the military gets involved too. And you know how it goes, there's no surprises here, it's all very straightforward. Oh, and it's set in the 80s, because of course it is. They lean pretty heavily into it, to the point that it was getting borderline annoying. But it didn't really bother me that much. It's just something they could have relied on a bit less. Now about the characters. I really enjoyed the dynamics between the girl and Bumblebee. I thought it was really well done, and they managed to make Bumblebee kinda cute. Like one of those adorable sidekicks in animated movies. Which brings me to the director, Travis Knight, who before this made Kubo and the Two Strings. But he's also worked as an animator on a bunch of other movies. And it really shows. Because I have no doubt he had a lot to do with making Bumblebee come alive. And what I noticed almost immediately was how great the CGI actually was. It's really quite good. And that might seem like something trivial, but it's not. You can make amazing CGI these days, but a lot of movies just fall short. Either they don't have the budget or they just don't know how. Even big budget movies often look really bland and just sort of passable. But in this, most of the CGI is top notch. They've got it down to a science. And the way they blend it with live action is about as good as it gets. There's a few shaky shots here and there, but for the most part it's really impressive actually. Even in a lot of Marvel movies things don't look this good. And a lot of the time there's no weight to the animation. But these guys nailed it and I gotta admire that. Because it's not something every movie gets right. And yeah, I'd have to imagine Travis Knight had a little bit of something to do with it. And the end result is very enjoyable. But you know, most of these movies have one problem in common. Once they get to the end, there's this big CGI spectacle that just seems to go on forever. And that's usually when I stop caring. And this one did have that as well. However, it wasn't as long and drawn out as most of them. And because I actually liked the main characters, I wasn't as bored with it as I usually am. But I'm still not a huge fan of those grand finales. They just do almost nothing for me. And this one didn't do much either. But at least it worked and made sense. And it wasn't this incomprehensible mess that a lot of them are. So yeah, there's quite a bit to like about this. And no one's more surprised than I am. But this is actually a Transformers movie that's pretty decent. So would I recommend it? Sure, why not? Check it out. Or don't. I'm not your dad. But I am trying to sell out, so consider liking, subbing, hitting that bell and supporting me on Patreon. Because I really need to get myself a classic Corvette. And hey, why not drop a comment below or check out another review? I'd appreciate it. Thanks.